Professor Florence Banco, the very first female Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar, and she's been on this position for more than a year. But before then, she was also the Vice Chancellor of the university, and she's been here for a long time. She's a daughter of the soil as well, and I think that she has a lot to tell us about what has been happening in the school in the past 1 year. And we'll start specifically about some of the things that are worrying your children. We know you have been doing a lot here. We are going to get there. But I must tell you, most of your students are out there hooking up right now. They want to hear their mommy speak to them about what's been going on. They are complaining about the increment of school fees. And we know that a lot of students tell their parents at home that so many things have increased in school. Like we saw a comedy gig where somebody said, a parent said his child came back home and told him that in school they said they should pay attention and that the cost of the attention is 20,000 naira. So students can also tell their parents those kind of things. Mommy, has school fees increased in the University of Calabar? If it has, how much? Have hostel accommodation fees increased in the University of Calabar? If it has, how much? I'm sure that so many parents will want to hear what is really going on.
Yeah, let me welcome you and say thank you for this interview and interaction. It's a long time I haven't seen you.
It's true, mommy.
The question is if University of Calabar has increased school fees. The answer is no. No, because in University of Calabar there is no school fees. There is no tuition fee. But if you ask if the University of Calabar has increased service charges for certain subhead, the answer is yes. Let me tell you first that there is no federal university in Nigeria that students pay fees. Generally, tuition is free. It's not the best for the system because federal government can fund universities, but yet the federal government does not have the political will to introduce fees in schools. And so what vice chancellors are left with is to introduce school charges for certain services rendered. Those services are examination fees or levies, student right exams, which include continuous assessment. They are all exams. Students pay for it. And it has been there even when I was a student back in the 80s. Students pay caution fee, students pay medical fee, students pay for ID card. Today, students pay for internet. These are all the fees, service charges that students pay for. And yes, these have been increased. They were increased because the university generally is part of the global world. And everything in Nigeria and beyond is going up. Nothing comes down. So generally, there's inflation, there's high running costs, provision of municipal services to students, even to administer exams. You print examination booklets in hundreds of some millions. So there is need to increase those charges. Otherwise, the university system will just be crumble. So that's why we had to increase those charges.
Well, that sounds like the consideration for increment was only from the supply side. How about the demand side? Did you also balance it with the economic hardship that
we actually did?
Okay.
Very well, we did.
Yeah.
Because if it was only from the supply side, we would have sat down in our management, maybe in Senate, and taken a decision that this is what we want to increase in each of the subjects. But no, we didn't do that. From the demand side, we had to meet with our students to negotiate with them.
Okay.
We gave out our proposal to students, comprehensive proposals of what we intended to increase. Hard copies. The students took it after we addressed them, the management.
That's the SUG.
The SUG.
Okay.
And then the SUG is not just the SUG ESCO that come. They have different administrative organs. You have the administrative, which is SUG president and his school. You have the Senate president and his own senators. Then you have the judiciary, the chief judge and her own members, judges. And then you have hall leaders, you have faculty presidents, and these are, you even have spiritual heads, you even have stakeholders, even nuns members, South nuns. All of them were involved in this negotiation, and it took us more than 1 month to negotiate with the students. And it was after we've done all this that the students eventually again met and came up with the figures we adopted and read to us that these are the figures they have agreed. And that was what we adopted. We didn't add anything to what the students themselves agreed.
You know that one, the various organs of the unions agreed with you with some of these increments. It's ironical that the same students are now complaining, having agreed with you, and some of them are accusing the leadership of their unions of compromising with the management of the school. I don't know how true that is, but these are some of the things that some of the students are saying. But ma, do you think it is possible for all of these students to pay these fees before 15th when they are supposed to start exams?
My students have already paid fees. So, my students have paid fees.
Oh, the real ones have paid.
Well, look, Agba Jalingo, let me tell you, I don't know when you went to school. In universities of today, and Calabar is not an exception. We have categories of students. There are students that were occasional students, non-academic students. Some are noisemakers, they are not even enrolled. They have been here for 5-6 years. They don't even have matriculation number. They are the ones that make noise. Those who came here as students to read their books and earn degree have all paid fees. Our university has about 30,000 something students, and more than 30,000 students have paid fees.
Wow, amazing. You can hear that out there. My real students have paid their fees. That is what the VC is saying. So,
what is my problem now with my students is that many of them have not registered their courses. And that is why I have been going around doing sensitization. SUG, the new SUG has mounted a sensitization program for them. Yesterday we held a congress with our students, all the undergraduate students in their thousands, and we told them why they need to register. I'm sure when you went to the university, after payment of fees, the next thing you did was to register your courses.
Yes, we did that.
We did it. When I was a student, we did it. But today students pay fees and just move on. They don't bother to register their courses. So at the end of the semester, we mark results, but we don't know who took the exams because they never registered for it. We mark the exams, but you can't release it because nobody registered for your course. And then you're having results of some students with numbers, they claim that JAM number or matriculation number, but nobody actually registered for the course. How do they have results?
Amazing. All right.
So that is the problem I have with my students. Not registering for their courses, not payment of fees.
Not registering for their courses.
Is it
in other words, could it be that some of them are your students, but because they haven't been able to register for their courses, the system is not able to properly identify them?
They are my students. Those ones who have paid fees are actually students. But over the years, students were not properly guided. So students got used to a system where they pay fees and move on to write exams. And then at the end of the semester, end of the year, end of their program, they have a lot of challenges. They keep saying, I have graduated, but I have not seen my year 1 result. But I have graduated without seeing year 1 result. Some of them have actually graduated because they said they have defended their thesis, but they were withdrawn in year 1 or year 2 because they never registered. If they went to register, they would have known that they were either withdrawn or they were to do probation. So what I'm doing, I'm just trying to guide my students properly so that they can have a better future for themselves.
The ones that are ready to pay are also complaining about the process. They say there are long queues at the bank, there are underhand deals, and that there's no ventilation at the UNICAL Microfinance Bank. There are some of those complaints, and that they go there money to live in and they just hang around. Is there a better way of improving and making this process easier for those that are willing to pay?
Over the years, students have been paying fees. It did not start now. So why is it suddenly the microfinance bank is no more conducive?
It's possible to use technology and clean up that system and make it easier.
But let me tell you that students are not paying fees in microfinance bank.
Okay.
We don't use our microfinance bank pay fees because our fees goes to TSA.
Okay.
The federal government has treasury single account, and that's where our students pay fees. So they pay fees online using commercial banks, and the money hits our account, TSA. So when they talk about microfinance bank, maybe it's their departmental charges.
Madam Visi, what's the meaning of acceptance fee? Did you pay it when you were in school? What does it mean, and where did it come from? What are they accepting?
Acceptance fee? Yeah, when I didn't pay it when I was in school, that's the truth. But at a particular time, the world is changing, the system is changing. Like I said earlier, the university need also to raise money to run the university. Now, over the years, the university introduced acceptance fee. Many years now, there's been acceptance fee. And not only UNICAL, across universities.
Yeah, we know that's why I think you're in the right position to know what it really means.
So what means that we give you admission. You need to tell us that you have accepted the admission by making commitments. That is like your commitment to, yes, I'm ready to come. Because once we have a quota from JAM, for instance, JAM gives you 10,000 admission quota. And then you have people you have admitted, but have not accepted the admission. You can't replace them thinking that you have already admitted 10,000. At the end of the day, you have 4,000, 5,000 students coming. You have lost out.
Shouldn't that be refundable or converted to part of their fees?
When the people now pay acceptance fee, that is to say that we have accepted the admission. But it's the wisdom of the administration, then universities in Nigeria, and the wisdom of Senate that acceptance fee was introduced. It wasn't my creation, and it's not my creation. So acceptance fee has been there.
Maybe in the next,
we didn't increase one dime. We didn't increase one kobo
on acceptance fee. Okay, somebody mentioned somewhere that it was increased.
That they are still paying.
That's where I was asking about.
It was not increased. It has never been increased, and there's no intention to increase acceptance fee, which I met.
In the next meeting of vice chancellors, maybe you should also make a case. I would argue that since it is in lieu of my admission, it can be converted into part of my school fees as I enter the school, or it should be refundable since it's just to make a commitment. It is possible to make that argument on behalf of the people that are complaining.
Okay, to committee of vice chancellors.
Yes.
Maybe the student nuns can go and make that case. Okay. The committee of vice chancellors.
I have two more questions because we want to hear what you have been doing in UNICAL. But two very quick more questions before we move. Some of your students are complaining that their lecturers are not paying attention to them because they have dual jobs. And I can personally say that I know some persons who work for University of Calabar and they are appointees in the incumbent Cross River State government. Some people also mentioned that some of the lecturers work in private universities. I don't know if their employment contracts allow them to do that, and if you are aware of such things.
Yeah, for academic staff, our major job is teaching and research, community service. And sometimes you are allowed to be an adjunct or a part-time lecturer in another university, a sister university. But let me say here that there is no university that can employ the manpower needed for the system. Because of that, we fall back to our colleagues in certain key areas, rare areas where you don't have the manpower. You bring them either as adjunct lecturers, professors, part-time professors, visiting professors. It's done globally. Even in developed countries, they have visiting professors.
Yes.
So it's in academic system. So when they said our lecturers don't pay attention to them because they have dual jobs, if it is true, that is very sad. But to tell you the truth, nobody has drawn my attention to that. I know that a number of our lecturers are appointees of government, but many of them also resigned. And I recall some that were forced to resign by administration because you cannot hold two jobs. It is even against the civil service regulation. You can't be a staff of UNICAL earning salary and be a staff of an appointee of government of Cross River or federal government earning salary. But you can be a part-time, a board member. You can serve as a board member, which is not a full-time job. That is allowed. It's part of our engagement. But you cannot be a full-time appointee outside and a full-time here. We have had cause to terminate appointment of 2 staff not long ago that we discovered were holding dual jobs in Crutech and here. We have terminated the appointments. So that is to tell you that if we know that, if we get to know and investigate and see that is true, we'll terminate the appointment.
Okay, thank you. I will challenge the citizens out there to give information, and I promise you that I will also avail you of some of these names. I speak with evidence. I know some of your staff here who are holding full-time appointments in government, and I volunteer to give you some of that information, not on air. I will do it privately.
Yeah, I will love that.
As due process demands. Then lastly, before we go to what you have been doing here, this teaching issue about IPPIS, some lecturers that were employed here by your predecessor, they say they have worked for 2 years and they haven't been given their pay. Some of them are saying that even if they have not been captured in the integrated personnel and payroll information system to get their end academic allowances, the school should give them staff numbers and allow them to begin to earn some salaries for the work they are doing. What is the problem with this issue? Can we use this opportunity to explain? Do they deserve their pay? If they do, why haven't they been paid? If they don't deserve, I think they should know now.
Well, the Bible said the laborer deserves
worthy of his wages, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think if you're a laborer, you deserve to be paid. But then for you to be a laborer, there must be proper engagement. Here it's so sad that we have colleagues, some academic staff, some are non-academic staff. Majority are non-academic staff. But some academic staff who engaged between November 2019 and maybe July 2020. Some of them have been working, but have not been payrolled. Unfortunately, those who engaged in November 2019 worked maybe for 4 months. Unfortunately, the previous administration couldn't payroll them because then they had opportunity to payroll them because the university was payrolling staff and paying them. They couldn't. And then by February, March, IPPIS took over payment. And then that became very difficult. So we have nothing to do with payrolling staff. It's done in Abuja. The list is sent to us, confirming they are your staff. We confirm and that's all. And this list has been uploaded. So we can't even eject names into that list. We can't eject names. So what had happened to these people, and this is the truth and I've explained it severally, is that the University of Calabar got permission or approval from the Office of Head of Service of the Federation to engage 1,000 staff in as at July-August 2019. And engage a number of them and payrolled them. As at November, they continued engaging and engaged more than the 1,000 staff. And we have a list. If you wouldn't mind, I'll give you outside the camera too. Of those that have been payrolled, there are about 800. That's between 700 and 800 of them have been payrolled from the 1,000 that federal government gave approval. And we still have more than 1,000 something that have not been payrolled. But yet the approval was for 1,000 workers. 637 were supposed to be academic staff, and 300 plus were supposed to be non-teaching staff. But on the whole, we had have employed more than 2,000 people. But you had permission to employ only one. And the people who are supposed to payroll them are now in charge of payrolling people. So you have no choice now. We cannot payroll anybody without passing through IPPIS. When I came on board, I actually made a lot of efforts to see how we can get these people payrolled. Many of them are cross-variants. In fact, many of them are even Moki from my local government. Some are even my own children and relations. I mean children that people like.
Understand.
Yeah. So, and they told me this. I went to IPPIS office severally to see what we could do. And then we're confronted with the question, let's have the approval from head of service. Let's see those you have already payrolled, those you employed, and those you payrolled. And let's see how we can handle the rest. And from our records, a number of them, like I said, almost 700-800 have been payrolled. But here we have about 1,500, 2,000 people still carrying our appointment letters. So how do we sift the remaining 200 or 300 now from these 2,000? Should we give them an exams? What should we do? There's nothing. I can't do nothing. So all I did is I've made a report to council. And the council has directed, and they are going to go the whole lot of doing personnel audit. And thereafter, the chairman of council said he wants to take that up with the office of head of service and IPPIS. After he's convinced himself and done his own personnel audit of the entire university, convinced himself of the manpower we still need, then he will take that up. Okay. So that's what we are waiting for now. So I have not stopped the payment of anybody. I'm not sitting on anybody's payment. But if it is your money that you are not being paid, it's not added to my salary. So I have no business sitting on your progress, on anybody's progress.
So it's entirely not a hopeless situation?
Well, it may not be a hopeless situation. There will be a solution, but council will handle that.
But is there any effort or is there any intention to deal with whoever or group of persons that exceeded that quota that was given from the head of service? Because that's a clear breach of some administrative.
Yeah, I will be left for the office of the head of service and accountant general to handle.
Okay, beautiful.
I'm doing my own work.
All right. Madam, I know, let me do some comparisons. Part of the things that people complain about is getting their transcript from UNICAL. And there are so many things about technology. They need to improve on so many things in this school. It's 1 year now plus. Maybe you may want to tell us some of the improvements you have brought, because if the charges for services are increasing, there should also be value addition. What are some of those value? What some of the value that you are putting on these services?
We have not increased transcript.
No, because there are some services.
But it's a very serious issue, and that is an issue that is not going down well with the entire University of Calabar Alumni Association. Nobody's happy. We are not happy that we can't actually give transcript to our students, our outgoing students on demand. It's a systemic problem, and it's a problem that has been here for so many years. Yes, I've been here for 1 year, but it's not a problem that I can just resolve within 1 year. And the main challenge is that we have been analog all these years, even when the world has gone digital. We have remained analog. Our results are prepared analog, manually. So at the end, they are brought to Senate, they are approved, hard copies are distributed. 5-6 years down the line, when students have gone, they need their transcript, they come back to the university, they can't find their results. They can't again get Senate approved result to prepare transcript. And then you start moving from one office to the other. But that is one of the things that I'm trying to solve. We need to get our results to be uploaded online. Digitalize the system. If the system is digitalized and all our results are online, and that's my fight with my students, register your courses so that we can upload your results. But if you don't register, we can't upload results. So if we upload all our results and they are online, it's just a program. Once you pay for transcript, in less than 24 hours you get it. It's not any rocket science, it's nothing. It's just that those people, the system that are working, they're already digitalized. And that is where we are going to. It's also a big problem to us, so that even our council is interested, because what we have just raised here, I would have been surprised if you end this interview without bringing up the issue of transcript. Because even our council chairman, who just came about July, has got to know the problem of transcript of UNICAL. And every council meeting now, we give the state of transcript report. We met more than 20-something thousand, about 27,000 applications for transcript. Monies have been paid. Over the time, we have actually been able to prepare thousands of transcripts. In fact, I can give, if I had my phone, if it were possible for me to use my phone, I'll give you an exact figure. Because in the last council report in December, we gave that. So even council appreciates the fact that we are doing much. But because there were too many, now we are talking of the one we met, the applications we met as at 1st of December. After that, many more are coming in. People, almost on every day, daily basis, people are applying for transcript. So that is the challenge we're having. But the solution is to digitalize the system, our results, and then will be a seamless process getting transcript. Just yesterday, we had appointed a new person to be in charge of transcript, because and we have also told him he's to travel to 2-3 universities to understudy their system there. Especially University of Ife is one of the universities, is to take a tour next week to understudy the system and see how they got it right. And we are actually worried and very conscious of that. And I believe that we are going to resolve that. Yeah,
I'm very interested and sensitive to that word digital, not just because we call Agba no digital, but I earn a living digitally. So
exactly, that's what you are doing.
Yeah, I earn a living digitally. What efforts are you making in that direction? I would like to know, and a lot of other students out there, to digitalize this university. This is a very massive community, and we would like
have an ICT, we have a computer department. We have a computer engineering department. We have an ICT directorate, and we have people who can do that. What we are doing now is the ICT director has put up a proposal. We also have proposals from people who have come up with different proposals on how they can help, in particular the transcript problem. We have a lot of proposals. We are looking at them. So we also want to upload all our documents from the registry. We want to see how we will upload all our documents. But we have started. This set of students are uploading their results, credentials online. They are registering online. They are being screened online.
They are populating the system already.
Yes, we've started with this set of students. Okay. So going forward, we'll get it right.
Okay. How about managing your hostels infrastructure? I understand that there was a lot of intervention from TED Fund under your predecessor. Is anything new coming in terms of hostel accommodations for your students? Most of them are living outside of the
I don't know who told you there was a lot of intervention from TED Fund during my predecessor.
But anyway, I was here in this school and I was seeing TED Fund projects here and there, so unless somebody else was doing the markings.
Well, yes, TED Fund has been funding us, and actually that is the only major intervention we get in the university. And then we have right now 2 ongoing TED Fund hostel projects. One just started as I came on board. The other one I met, it's almost abandoned, but we started all over. When they are completed, it's not just projects that TED Fund funds. There are other infrastructures, labs, computers, desktops, everything. TED Fund is actually funny about. You know, I had a challenge when I came on board. That TED Fund has even, what do I say now, sanctioned my university before I came on board. Because
why did they do that?
Yeah, there were some breaches. Breach of misapplication of certain funds. And so we have gotten over that now. And then we are back to TED Fund. And TED Fund is seriously supporting us now. You can see that TED Fund projects are ongoing, pavilions, the hostel, and we have a lot of things that are coming to us. But specifically, TED Fund equally supported us to revive or renovate our hostels. When I came on board, we had hostels that have been mostly almost abandoned since they were built. They have never undergone total rehabilitation. We did that. It was a total rehabilitation of the hostels. And that was with TED Fund support. And then we are also thinking that many more maybe projects will come from TED Fund. But it's not just about TED Fund, which is a government intervention agency. What we should be talking of now is PPP, public-private partnerships, in building hostel spaces. Going by NUC, we are supposed to at least accommodate 30% of our student population, but we accommodate less than 10%. So we want to also call on Nigerians who have money to invest. It's good investment. They should bring their money and invest it. We have somebody who has already invested in one hostel here during my predecessor's days, Winsword. And the hostel is accommodating thousands of students.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we need more of such hostels. We cannot depend on government to build hostels for students. Let Nigerians invest their money, and we have Nigerians who have good money. Let them come and invest, and this is good investment, live investment. So let them come and invest. And this council has even come up with a housing policy that will help investors.
Madam Vise, I want to ask you, you're a mother. Are you worried about, first, the quality of training that students are getting from here? Then secondly, sex for marks. I want to emphasize the issue of the quality of education, because I have 3 children in this school. One, my daughter, and 2 of them are my nieces. I pay their school fees. One has graduated. They graduate and they don't know how to do anything, including the course they studied in school. They go for youth service and then come back home to start a second childhood. You have to start giving them those same things, spoon feeding them. Yeah. And then it's even more worrisome because I didn't have the opportunity of going to school in Nigeria, but I know some of my classmates in secondary school who, with due respect to them, anytime I see and know that they are the people that are teaching my children, I am not confident that my children will ever be competitive anywhere. Does it worry you? Because it worries me. I expect that if my child finishes from school, that child should be a professional in something. But specifically those that are finishing from here, they come out, like I said, they return home to start a second childhood. These days they have the audacity to tell us parents that I need to sort lecturers. Are you worried?
Yeah, I'm very worried. I'm more worried not just as a parent, but as an educationist. Because I'm a professor of education. So it's from that background I'm more worried. The quality of the students we churn out year in, year out. It's true that, you know, when we started, I said we have students who are more ceremonial and occasional students. Some of them don't even know why they are here. From morning to night, all they do is selfie and how to dress to match. No serious students talk about to match. In our days, nobody knew about to match. And let me say here, I've also been blessed to teach in other universities outside Nigeria. I was in Ghana. I was in Cameroon. I've taught in Czech Republic as a visiting scholar. So I have experiences that I can look back. When I was in Cameroon as a UNESCO visiting professor, and they brought us from different African countries to start a program there. I discovered that the students, students wear jeans and t-shirts almost Monday to Saturday or Monday to Friday. They're in their jeans and t-shirt and hang their back. And that's all they do. Students are interested in buying books. Students ask you, oh, you are from Nigeria. We don't have books in this area. Next time, can you give us? I had a Cameroon student who was coming here by boat to come and buy textbooks in UNICAL and take to Cameroon, University of Buya. But Nigerian students, they are so conscious about their physical looks than their books. In fact, in 2012, when I went for this, I wrote something on my Facebook page that I've met a set of students who've challenged me for the first time as a lecturer. Because the students were reading ahead of me. While I quote an author of 2012, they are telling me about 2013 author. When I went to Ghana on sabbatical, I didn't know how to use a computer. I had to enroll a week after in a private place because my students challenged me. And I heard the word Google for the first time from my students, my master's students. And they tell you, I just Google, I went online and I Googled, and I was like, what is Google? And I was an associate professor. 2004, I said, God, I went and enrolled. Get my money. God, because there you go, they give you an office furnished with computer. I was doing nothing with the computer. It was a piece of decoration. I go learn there, come back and start operating my computer. I was trying to see how to use it. People come, oh, you are working. I said, yeah. I wasn't working. I was learning how to use the computer. But I'm talking about students challenging lecturers. UNICAL students, January to December, will never ask you a question in the class. You finish teaching, you ask them any question, no question. They want to go. They are almost standing, already standing. No question. No student comes back to ask you, I read from this textbook. At least none has challenged me. None has. I've been here for 32 years. None of my students has challenged me. To make me to want to prepare my lessons before going to class. You go to class, tell stories, say whatever I want to say.
But how do they manage to pass? Is that the fault of the system or the fault of the student? How do they manage to pass?
They pass because they just said that they tell their parents, the parents budget for sorting. But that is what we are stopping.
Because the sorting gets into the system.
Let me tell you why the students are complaining so much. It is not because of fee payment.
Oh.
These are all the cumulative things that you hear all these students complaining, but they can't tell you that we are complaining because this woman is blocking avenues of sorting.
But
or passing examinations.
Dealing with it? How is the system dealing with it?
That's what I'm telling you. We are dealing with it now. For instance, students find it very difficult to sort. Since I came on board, first semester exams, we came up with different answer booklets. And the other answer booklets that they had everywhere were useless because some students go to rewrite exams in lecturers' offices. We made those answer booklets useless, and you can't have an answer booklet just off your table again. The second semester, we changed the answer booklets. We serialized them. So when you write the exam now, we know which answer booklets were given to law. And at the end of the day, we want to see how many used. We have quality assurance going to cross empty spaces. We go to exams to monitor. We quality assure the marking of our colleagues, our own marking of exams. This semester, we have even gone a different thing to give barcode to our answer booklets. Those are just ways of making sure that students read to pass exams. And these are things that are making them angry. We have made the system too tight for them. They have to go back and read. Look, let me tell you, Agba, Jalingo, I've been in this system for so long. In this university in particular, When we reopen, it takes our students 6 weeks and the least 4 weeks to come back to school. This semester, our students returned before the day we say we're reopening. Why?
So what was new?
Because the system is getting tighter for them.
Okay.
They need to sit up. They need to read their books. They attend lectures. Ask my colleagues. They will not tell you that students attend classes. We have situations where students don't even attend classes because parents make provision for them to come and sort. There's hunger everywhere, temptation everywhere. For some of us that are vulnerable, you see some monies, million or thousands of naira, envelope waved, you take. But there are some people that even if you bring millions, they will not. So it's not the whole lecturers that are corrupt, but these students, some of them, they will manage because they buy their way out. Even some courses that they fail, for lecturers that are so tough, sometimes they buy their way out. And that is one of the problems they get, why you hear transcript of UNICAL can be got. When they go out, they come back for transcript. Some of them have not passed, have not graduated. They will not tell you that because I didn't graduate, that's why I can't get my transcript. They tell you the system is bad, they can't give transcripts. Some of the issues with transcript are from those students who graduated through the back door and said they have gone out, went to a Agba and got fake certificates, of course, yes. They have fake certificates of the university and they claim they have graduated. And when they come for transcript, if they get jobs, the employers will not write for transcript, and then we now discover they've not graduated in the first instance.
But if there's, like you were talking about technology, I know that technology can actually clean this up. Even as a parent, I can see everything about my child on the dashboard. I can go to the dashboard and know whether you passed all your courses. And
that is what we are doing now.
All of that, because it will be difficult for students to lie to their parents at that point. The information will be on your dashboard. I hope that...
And that is exactly what I said with this year student, this year one students. We are saying screening online, upload your results online, your jam online, register
but that
online.
will reduce a lot of human contact.
Once we do like that, human contact
it will reduce
there.
human contact.
You don't need to go to lecturers to begin to ask your performance. In
no, it will be on your dashboard.
It will be there.
It will be on your dashboard.
Your phone. Once you are registered students, use your number, clock
as simple as
phone,
that.
you see your results. That's the system we are going to.
You can even use that number to access other products of the school, like insurance, other benefits that the school has in a digitalized system.
That's where we are going to.
Okay, I congratulate you because you are looking forward. But Ma, the school has complained. The other time you were very bitter about this issue of sex for marks. The last time I checked, this school has not punished anybody in the past 30 years. If I am wrong, you can correct me. Is the system complicit? Or is it that it's not happening? Because if it's not happening, you wouldn't have been that angry.
We have docile students.
Okay.
Our students are very timid.
Okay.
Very timid. Just at the time when you think, I have gotten this person, I'm going to punish, the student turn around to say, not true. And let me just tell you one sad thing that just happened. We have this young girl, and interestingly, she's from my local government, from my own village. The uncle is a lecturer here. He ran to me one day and said the sister was abused. Young girl of 16 years was abused by somebody, a staff. And I said I was going to use that for, yes, let people know how serious I am about this sex for grades. Although that one is not even a lecturer. But do you know what happened? Why we have not even acted? The same girl is saying, no, he did not. And then the same staff of mine, a lecturer, has turned around to say, the girl is now turning around to say, no, she was not abused. How do you punish such a person?
Maybe we need to strengthen the system of protecting the people that are willing to give.
We are ready to protect them.
But I'm afraid that I won't be protected.
No, they should know that they will be protected. In fact, if students say that for the 1 year I've been here, they are not convinced that they will be protected. If they bring up issues to me, then they are not fair to themselves.
Okay. That sounds confident.
Because yes, I go and I'm not a VC that sits in the office. I'm not. I am outside there working from one office to the once I see, and students have my phone number. I gave them my number. In orientation, 10,000 students. Matriculation, I gave my number. Anybody who is a serious-minded student will have my number. They send text messages, they call me. And once you send a text said, this lecturer did that, I go to that lecture. I go. And during orientation, I even told my students, the female students, you own your body. Nobody has right to harass you. You pay your school fees and you are here and we owe you nothing but to teach you and to graduate you from the system. Don't be intimidated, don't be harassed. We are here, we have a woman, Brenda Agba, one vocal, maybe you know her too, one activist. She's in charge of our gender development center. And she's doing so. As you enter there, I'm sure you saw, say no to sex for grade. There are billboards everywhere. Let the students come out and tell us. And I advise my students during orientation. You have these phones. What do you use them for? Somebody is harassing you. Just look for a way and snap the person. Get that picture and come and give us. In Lagos, didn't we read of a student who was able to record the lecturer? Could he escape that?
There are so many gadgets.
There are gadgets you can use.
For all of that, and
I've told my students, use those gadgets. Bring the evidence to us and see it will not act. I'm looking forward to that. At least there is also a law now. National Assembly. So that will also empower us to do what we want to do. But let the students come forward. Come up and tell us. We can't go looking for those who are harassing students when the students themselves are not complaining.
Is it also true that the students are also harassing the lecturers? Do you have instances of
I don't know.
such cases?
When they say they harass them, how do they harass them? You see, when lecturers say students harass them by the mode of their dressing.
No, not just mode of dressing.
Not...
That some students actually come to them and say, okay, sir, I failed this course. I'm willing to offer either money or myself. There are male lecturers that have said that. I'm sorry, I failed the course, but I'm willing to
so you think now a male student will come to me and say, ma'am, I'm willing to offer money on myself and I will accept?
No, what if it is vice versa? That can be common. We are just thinking aloud.
No, lecturers should be live
above. Okay, they should live above board. Okay,
they should live above board.
Yes.
They should not be carried by such things. But it's rare. Maybe they are girls. They are very bold ones who perhaps are doing that. The lecturers too should cry out. When they do, we'll also go after those students.
I like that. If you're a lecturer.
Lecturers and non-lecturers should not cry out. We'll go after the students too who are harassing them.
Well, obviously I said that still this is protecting everybody.
So we have to protect both of us. First to protect my staff, my colleagues, and then protect also my students.
Amazing.
So, we are ready for that.
Okay, but obviously, is there any way you can give some hope to some of your genuine students who have not paid to say, okay, even after 15th, we may still give you some consideration? A lot are crying, we don't have money. Can they still write the exams even if they have not been able to do what they are supposed to do by the 15th? Is there a window of hope for them, or will you shut them out completely?
Even in the nursery school, if you don't pay fees, you don't write exams. Government public schools, even secondary schools, if you are not registered for WAEC, you can't write WAEC. Isn't it true?
Yes.
If you are not registered for JAM, you can't write JAM.
No, you can't.
Why will it be different in UNICAL? Why will a student be a university student, write exams when you have not paid fees? How? What first qualifies you to be a student?
It's your fees.
It's your fee. So, are those people students? So if you are not paid fees, actually you are not a student. Isn't it?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So if you are not paid fees, you are not a student. The students we owe everything, teaching, marking their grades, are those who have paid fees and have registered. If you're not paid fees, you are not student. You are not. So we don't owe you anything. So we can't give up to people who are not our students. You just mentioned UNICAL and digitalizing. Yeah. We cannot. This is what has held us back. When people write exams, they have not paid fees. After 4 years, they graduate, and then they start working and come to start paying fees. Where will the scripts be? And that's what has held us back. So you are against the system. You want us to also do that. If we go back to that system, we'll never go anywhere. That is what has held UNICAL back in terms of assessing your result, getting your transcript. It's just a cycle. If the foundation is shaky, the building will be shaky.
That sounds
we can't do
very
that.
tough administratively, and it's actually the best way forward if you want to clean up the system. Some
We have to clean up the
administrators have
system.
to really be very, very strong.
And when you want to bring up any change, you know, it's painful, but you just have to take very serious, painful decisions that would affect others. If there must be a change in this system. Look, I feel pain, and my colleagues in Senate knows, when people compare UNICAL with UNIO, and our colleague will tell you, my child who is in UNIO, I have his result, but my child in UNICAL, I don't have. UNIO, what did they do? Is it magic? Is that they are doing the correct thing. Students, they pay fees. 4 weeks of resumption in UNIO, you must have paid your fees. 2 weeks late registration starts. 6 weeks after that, they shut the system. You reapply if you want to go back to UNIO. It is there. UNIO is just here. And their system is working. You get your transcript. They get their results. But here, students graduate. They have not seen their year 1 result because they have not paid fees. The result, the grades, the scripts have not been marked. You say, let them just write exams, but don't mark. So 6 years after, when it comes back to pay fees, where do you think the scripts will be? Even by university law, after 6 years, you don't keep the scripts of a student again.
I see.
So we must change the system. We must change the system.
All right, like you say, we must change the system. And Madam Visi has said all her students have paid their fees. If you have not paid, you are not part of this system. There are students in the UNICAL Staff College. Let me ask this before I go. The secondary school. I'm aware some of the students kept winning a lot of laurels in sciences. At the point they won a trophy from Korea. And there were some of the earliest people who started converting plastic waste to interlocking stones.
Yeah.
Yes, and we can't. They came with a lot of hope. Yeah, has the school abandoned them, or wasn't there a plan, a continuity
No,
plan?
that's the Sage Club.
Yeah, the Sage Club.
The Sage Club. In fact, when they won the laurels we're talking of, I was the dean, I was the chairman of that school. And then they are still there. They just went for a contest where Ibadan, Ogun State, and they still won. So they are working, but I think that the students need support beyond the university.
Okay.
They need some serious. I had thought when they won that World Sage Cup,
Yes.
I thought the government would have picked those students over. See, that's why developed countries are developed. They spot the talents in the young children, pick them out, and then help to develop and build on their talents. These students, when the World Stage, competed amongst about 20-something countries.
South Korea, I remember.
And came back top the world. They didn't even have the handshake of Mr. President, of even the governor of the states.
Yeah, I remember.
They didn't have. So the university can't take them over. All the university does is we give them scholarship.
Okay.
Just to them, we always give them scholarship. And that's what we do. Till then, we give them scholarship. And at the end of it, they get to the university, they graduate and go. But we think that there should be a better way. Maybe
I was expecting that part of what we should be doing with fixing our inner roads these days, we could be asking them to produce some of this plastic waste. It's a big industry in Ghana and some other places. But it's unfortunate I haven't heard about those kids for a long time because I was here when they presented their trophy to the school management, and I thought that by now we would be hearing that they have made a lot of progress.
No, they are progressing different. Okay. Every year they have a different content. This year their presentation was on mental health.
Okay.
You just need to watch the presentation of these children. With the app they develop to test mental health, you just need to watch them. Our students are gifted, but they need support. And I think that the Federal Ministry of Science and Tech should actually watch out for these young kids. Take them over. And then they become the inventors of the country.
And wealth creators, ultimately.
And wealth creators, ultimately, yeah.
I'm sure there's one last word you want to tell us. We've exhausted our 1 hour. And I'm sure that something you want to say that you may have forgotten about.
Well, what I want to really say I want to talk to my students who are, and when I say my students, of course, the qualification of your being my student and a student of UNICAL is that you must have paid your school fees and you must have registered. If you have not paid your school fee and you have not registered, please note that you are not a student of University of Calabar. So for my students out there, exam starts next week. I want you to sit up, work very hard, prepare for your exams, read your books, go into the exam hall, make yourself proud, make your family proud. And if there are challenges that you think we can solve as management, please don't forget to send a text to me. You already have my number. And if you are my student, you have my number. It's a public number. Send a text to me. I may not call you. I may not reply the text, but I will act on it. And you will actually know that I've acted on it. So that's what I wish my students. And we hope that you do well. And then we get on and start the second semester. We're already late. Some universities are ahead of us. Don't keep yourself here more than necessary. Want you to get out of it. Already you lost 1 year in 2020. It was gone. We need to make up for that. So some of you want to get out, and I agree, you need to get out of the system and begin to look for a means of survival outside there. So work very hard. Make yourself proud. Make your parents proud. Thank you.
All right, you heard that, Madam VC. She is an alumni of the school. She also graduated from here. And how else can somebody be the best person to manage the affairs of the school? She seems so concerned. And like she said, exams is next week. Do well to read your books. If you're a Christian, Jesus Christ responded to the 3 temptations of the devil by beginning with that statement, it is written. This is only when you read that you know what is written. So you have to read your books if you want to make a difference. And that was this edition of One-on-One with Agba Jalingo, and of course the Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar, Professor Florence Banco Obi. Thank you, Madam, for your time and your attention.
Thank you, Agba Jalingo.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.